everyone, and welcome back to Marine Money's Funders and Founders show, where we talk to investors and founders of prominent technology companies and startup darlings within the maritime industry. I'm your host, John Shear of Marine Money, and today we have with us on the show Calvin Froedge, founder and CEO of MyHome. Now, MyHome is a new platform that describes itself as an investor-driven maritime and commodity data hub. So, Calvin, welcome to the show.
Hey, John, thanks for having me.
Fantastic. So, Calvin, why don't you kick off and tell us a little about MyHome and what the value is that you're bringing to the ship finance community?
Well, I guess telling how it started is probably the best way to lead into what it is now. I got really into the IMO 2020 transition a few years back. And so I was, sort of getting really interested in the different fuel grades, some of the different oil pricing, the rates that the tankers were charging, kind of where the spikes were happening. I was looking at the refineries, bunker fuel, and there wasn't really a good way to track all of that brought everything into one place. So, what happened after IMO 2020, we got COVID lockdowns. And so I think everybody, went a little crazy and had some kind of pet project that they did during lockdowns. So, building the platform that I wish I had when I first started getting into the IMO 2020 stuff was my COVID project.
Amazing. And so it's gone from that to a fully fledged platform that's out in the market.
Yeah. So now, we do equity comparisons on about 50 equities. So you can, basically log in and look at NAVs. You can look at fleets. You can, look at how they compare on a number of different financial metrics. You can see individual fixtures. You can see all of the rates that we track for a lot of different companies. We usually get, at least on the tanker side, about 100 fixtures or so a day. So we do TCE calcs on those fixtures, and as well as route assessments, and also track rates for some of the other sectors. Track all the time charter rates, etc. So it sort of brings together a lot of the things that I wish I had a couple years ago.
I mean, that sounds incredible. I mean, can you give us a quick demonstration of the platform to kind of show us exactly what you were talking about?
Yeah, sure. Let's jump in. So we try to combine the equities picture, sort of the financial side of shipping and commodities, the stocks, with the physical market, the deals that they're doing, the movements of cargoes, what's happening in the commodities world, the refinery economics, the mining economics. We do deep dive research pieces on sectors, and we provide sort of detail level data on all of the subcategories around commodity shipping.
Wow. Thanks, Calvin. So who are the primary customers or users of this platform?
So we have two kind of main groups, physical shipping guys and equity funds. So, hedge funds, investors, and people that work in shipping and, sort of just want to chat, want to see. We have, a lot of tools for putting a lot of information in one place where you can search it and filter it. And we give the detailed view and let you export everything. So a lot of people find that valuable. Some of the equity guys find the high level comparisons and the deep dive research pieces on particular companies, particular sectors valuable. We're not really providing, financial recommendations. We're providing context, information, and comparisons. So both those groups seem to find those things valuable.
Okay, so that being said, who do you think that you're competing against, and then who are you collaborating with regards to this product and what it brings to the market?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that we really don't have a direct competitor. There's some overlap with a lot of companies. Some people have called it like a mini Bloomberg. We're starting to do some of the things that you get out of Kepler. But we're not, I wouldn't say we're really competing with anybody in particular. We're working with a lot of ship brokers to provide the information that we're providing. Charles, who I work with, you also know, his background, former Maersk, Lukoil, etc. So um, I would say mostly people with strong shipping backgrounds is who we're collaborating with, and we're trying to give mostly funds, but also we're getting a lot of more shipping oriented people, some owners of smaller fleets, for example. We do also have a few larger customers that just kind of like to see what people are saying about the equities, and see some of the deep dive discussions. So I wouldn't really say that we're competing with anybody in particular, just because we've got more of a broad focus. We're not doing something super narrow. We're kind of mixing a lot of elements I think other people haven't mixed before.
All right, great. And I think that you said something then that was, I think, very interesting, and I think something that our audience would definitely like to hear a little bit more about, and that's where you're sourcing your data and how you're evaluating it. Sorry. You talked about ship brokers, but can you talk a little bit more about that data gathering and validation process that you guys do at MyHome?
Yeah, so a lot of it just gets pulled off of public websites, and basically we use scripts to automate some of that because we're getting information from hundreds of sources. It would be pretty much impossible to do it manually. So we're doing a lot of web scraping for example, fleet statistics and what who has what ships. We pull those off of company websites and put them all in one place. The ship brokers send us a lot of info on fixtures, rates, time charters, etc. That's our primary source for that. We also have a lot of data sets that we buy, especially on the financial side. We also buy some data sets, some API access from some of the more sophisticated ship brokers. So it's kind of a mix. Some of it we buy, some of it we get for free, and we kind of put it together.
Fantastic. And so, knowing all of that, what is the next phase of evolution for the platform or for the company? Like, where are you headed?
Right. So we're trying to get more into, utilizing some of the satellite data more effectively. We've got, for example, a fleet map right now where you can see all of the. I'm sure some of you are familiar with marine traffic, so you can go in and filter down to specific types of vessels or see where they are in a particular geographic area. So we're hoping to beef that up some more. We've been talking to some people that do petroleum importing and exporting, and we've heard some of the things that they're interested in. Kind of like the zones of interest. They want to know what ships are going to be available or could be available. So you can look at stuff like proximity and heading to kind of guess who might be available. So those guys can get some of those deals before anybody else does. So I'd say that on that side, that's probably going to be a big area of focus for us, is kind of improving the data that we're doing with the satellite analysis, and also getting better data coverage there. As you know, there are a couple different types of AIS and satellite data, right? There's imaging, there's terrestrial, there's satellite. So kind of combining some of those sources is pretty interesting. I'd say that would be probably the biggest focus area that we're going to have over the next year.
Okay. All right. Well, so then, this is Marine Money. Why don't we talk a little bit about the funding? So how have you been funded to date? I know that you talked about this kind of being kicked out as a pet project, but obviously that has gone far beyond that now. So how are you funded, and are you looking for investment at some stage? Talk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, so this is our third year. Just about third year to the day. It's all bootstrapped and self-funded so far. That might change in the future. We're not aggressively pursuing funding options. We're trying to find that sort of next growth phase corporate setup first. Jurisdictions, banking, attribution, compliance, etc. Right? Like when you're going from being a startup to being a not so much of a startup anymore, there's a lot more I's that you have to dot and T's that you have to cross. So that's sort of what we're working on now.
Great. So you're kind of setting the foundation for potential future investment.
Yes.
Great. Now, I guess one thing that we like to offer our guests is if you had to make an ask to our audience, which is ship owners, managers, banks, investors, Is there something in particular that that you're looking for as a business that if somebody had interest, they could reach out to you?
Yeah, well, we're always looking for more information sources, right? We're always looking for more people to pass us info on market deals. Just kind of their opinions, right? Here's what's happening in this part of the world. We're working with several brokers right now that work in certain geographic areas. They kind of specialize in exports or imports to a certain region, and so they'll give us kind of their opinion on what's impacting market dynamics at the time. So that's interesting. I also, like I said, would really like to find somebody to partner with in some way that could help us with some of the global compliance stuff and getting in the right jurisdiction, right relationships with banks, etc. Uh, so that's definitely top of the list.
Great. Well, Calvin, it's been very enlightening talking to you about this new platform, and congratulations on bootstrapping it, getting to where it is, and there's a really bright future, I think, for the platform. So thank you so much for taking us through that.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. And thank you, audience, for tuning in. We'll have another episode up shortly, so stay tuned for that. But thank you very much to all of you, and we'll see you next time.